Yo, what's good? There's not going to be anyone here today, pretty much, but I am bored as anything, so I'm going to look through the chapter and, we're going to have some fun. I think there's quite a bit to talk about this time, so here's my avatar. Hey. And hopefully I don't get copyright struck to oblivion here. Although I guess I kind of deserve it if you know me. Um, Yo, Ali Ahmed. Thanks. And Meek, yo, how are you, man? If you guys can share the stream, that would be sick. I'm actually surprised there's three people. Holy crap. Of course my avatar isn't moving his lips for some reason, but hey, he looks handsome, right? I'm not sure why I'm in a school uniform though. I'm not usually. Oh, a coffee. This has so many options, Jesus. Okay, that's better. Um, should I be red or green? Okay, we'll take off the Ray-Bans. Okay, let's go. So we're looking at chapter 1164, Davy's Blood. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna say that I've read this chapter before. So I'm gonna see if I can find any insights, and I'm just gonna chill and enjoy the art and bask in, hype new chapter stuff. Let me know if the audio and stuff's coming in good. And if you guys would like music or anything, because I'm not really used to streaming. Yeah, that's how we roll. Anyway, we've got our Queen Perona on the front cover here. Honestly, I'm a bit sad that the Yamato story ended with nothing happening. Why, Yamato? Hey, Yogurt, how are you doing? Enjoy the chapter? Okay, so obviously this is an allusion to Alice in Wonderland. I think if you want Oda to like take your request seriously, just make some kind of reference like this. He's like a sucker for it. Um, like geez, like I can't even begin to like enumerate the number of references in Wano. I'm sure my friend Mip, who should be in the chat, can, but even in something like Dressrosa, like he's not only like making the Don Quixote reference with the family, but he's also like Gulliver's Travel with Robin being laid down and all that. So you know. Why is my avatar so angry now? Oh look, I guess I'm blushing because it's Perona and she's awesome. Um, we've got her ghosts all decked out as rabbits as well. I kind of wonder if this chapter would be scheduled to release after Halloween, but I kind of wonder if the staff chose Perona or Oda chose Perona knowing that this would be like a Halloween chapter. It's interesting to think about. This rabbit guy, he looks friggin' like he's ripped out of Whole Cake Island, so that's interesting. I can't control what my avatar is doing. Well, I can. I can control it with buttons, but I don't know what the buttons do. Oh wait, I can do a shocked streamer's face, can't I? Oh my god, yo! So yeah, let's proceed with the chapter. How do I turn the page? Whoa, dear, that's the end of the chapter. Okay, let's give a shout out to these beautiful people. Meek, Misumi, good translators, nice people apparently. We've got Dexter, proofreader. Wow. Dark Phoenix and M. Portgas as a redrawer. Jules, really good people. Gaijin, I barely know that guy, to be honest. Black Muffin and Teal, what a terrible, terrible username. Disgusting. These guys should be ashamed of themselves, you know? Absolutely gross that they, do this and waste their weekends and, don't sleep to provide these chapters. Gross. Gross stuff. Anyway, we've got the Oda note, which is far more important. Um, it's just another Tokyo. Every single one of these is just Oda pimping something, you know? Like, it's always, oh, I saw this show, I saw Netflix, I had a bite to eat with this random person. It's never anything, serious. And I think, like, the last time I saw Oda make something serious was when Naruto ended and he threw some shade at Shonen Jump. He was like, Man, even in the last chapter, they don't give it the front cover. Shonen Jump sure does stick to its guns. Like, it's such a backhanded compliment. Um, Rabbit Ghosts are definitely a reference to Monet. Snow Bunnies, and her return is 100% her fruit. Oh, yes. If her fruit returns, I will give you like 100 quid. Like, honestly, Ali, I don't think it's gonna happen. Um, but I would like her fruit to return and not her, because her death was well done, you know? Anyway, um, so Rocks got hit with Domi Reverse Eye. So the first thing I want to talk about here is just how, like, unimpressed the future Yonko and Roger look. They don't look like their expressions are interesting because like Whitebeard is clearly the most concerned of them. Like he genuinely seems to like Rocks, and I didn't think Whitebeard would like Rocks, but you know. They seem to have bonded quite a bit, and like last chapter, he's like, "You sure you want to fight with me?" And Whitebeard did. Like so, I actually think Whitebeard really vibes with Rocks, but I don't know about the others. Yeah, Garp is literally that emoji, isn't he? Um, so we have Emu dialogue here, and Emu's dialogue is annoying. He's just kind of like you go for this archaic voice, but he also can't have pronouns, so he can't be too fancy. Um, but it's interesting, like, because you still have Rox is clearly resisting here, and I don't. I won't say this is a good feat for him, like, because a lot of people were really down on last chapter. I don't really get that, because, like, obviously the character's gonna lose in a flashback, but I kind of get it. I kind of get it. I'm sorry, I'm rambling because I haven't streamed in years. Oh god. Um. Ooh, I can put the hood up. Okay, let's go with this for a while. Um. So Davy D. Jones. That's the name of the previous king of the world. Oh boy. Okay. So right away, Emu reacts and he's like, "Insolent fool. He was never king." I really, really don't know what to make of this. I kind of before this chapter, I thought that Davy Jones, and Joy Boy were one and the same, and it was just a like epithet real name situation. But as we're gonna see, that's kind of very unlikely now. So my current theory is Davy Jones. He's got the D in his name, so I don't want to say that the will of Davy, as we're going to read about in a minute, is the same as the will of D, but they're definitely connected. And the fact that Emu says that wretch was never king, not for a single moment, makes me feel a bit secure in like saying that maybe he was screwed over by Emu. Like maybe he was the one selected to be king, but Emu was the one who ended up on the throne. Maybe. Um okay, so yeah, I wonder who scares you more, Davy D. Jones, Joy Boy. Cease this babble, they shall never resurface so long as thou fades into oblivion. So Emu does think that Zebek is a threat, that he potentially can still be one of these guys. So I really want to know, because he seems to expect these people to come back in some way. Like he's always calling Luffy Joy Boy and always calling Zebek Davy here for the rest of the chapter. And it really makes me wonder, like, what are the telltale signs that this is like his old enemy? Is it the hockey? Is it the fruit? Davy D. Jones is probably the king of the ancient kingdom. I agree, but I don't think he was ever king of the world. I think he formed an alliance. He was going to be king of the world, like he was technically king of the world because he like led the alliance. But I don't think he ever actually got to be on the throne, you know? I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I feel like before Davy Jones got to do what he wants to do, um Emu flooded the world. I think that's where we're going with this. I think it just makes sense for because like Davy Jones, if we look up the lore, is like he was sunk into the ocean, right? Like, does anyone have the chapter number for this? I'll look it up if anyone does, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's sometime during the um Davy back fight. Anyone has the chapter number? Let me know. I'll look it up straight away. But I'm pretty sure like the lore surrounding that. For when Davy Jones is mentioned for the first time by Robin during the Davy back fight. 310. Okay, let's do that. Just a moment. Sorry, when I type, it will make my avatar freak out. I need to change the bindings on that. So Meek reckons 316. I'm a ban you if it's 306. Thanks, Ahmed. 306. That does sound more right to me as well. Okay, here we go. Yes, this is the exact lore I was thinking about. Um okay, who's Davy Jones? Says Chopper. A pirate from long ago who was cursed by a demon and is said to live deep down on the seafloor. He lives on the seafloor? That's the legend. Any sunken ships or treasure gets locked away in Davy Jones's locker. The seafloor is scary. So Davy keeps everything that sinks down to him. So yeah, I think the legend of a demon who cursed him and cast him into the sea. The demon is Emu. Davy Jones was a king and a pirate, I guess, and his domain is the flooded world, right? Because you know he was the ruler of that world that flooded. you know, so I like to think this mythology springs up around that. So coming back to this stuff. Oh, you're Mip? Oh, sorry, Mip. I didn't know. Gosh, I should have put that together, to be honest. I don't think Pirate King was a thing back then, Meek. I think being king of the world was the prize back then. Um, but when the world is as corrupt as Emu's world is, the only like thing you can be king of is a pirate world. I think once Luffy becomes Pirate King, we'll be taken back to an era where there'll be no need for pirates because the world won't be as oppressive. So, so how do I connect these two positions? Um, okay, so Joy Boy must have been diametrically opposed to Davy Jones if Joy Boy was the first pirate, and if Davy Jones was a king. I think. Okay, okay. Here's the point of interpretation here. The way we know from the Japanese, right? We discussed this earlier, Meek, that when he says, "I wonder who scares you the most," Davy Jones, Joy Boy, he's positing it as an either or question. He doesn't use or because it's not necessary, obviously, but he gives them as the two options, the answers to the question. But my question is like, is this a situation where they're completely different people, or is Joy Boy like maybe potentially an inherited title, like so that there could be many Joy Boys, but Davy Jones is the man, you know? So I was kind of thinking about that, but then Imu goes on to be like, they shall never resurface, implying a plural as well. So let's go under the assumption that Joy Boy and Davy Jones are completely separate people, right? And let's lose the cat ears before people come into chat and be like, "Oh God, this guy's cringe." Um, let's assume they're two different people. If they are, Joy Boy has to logically come first, and I don't think they have to be opposed, Meek, because Davy Jones has the D in his name, and I think because Moo is saying that, yo, he was never even king. Like he wasn't king even for a bit, He like not even for a single moment was he king. I think he was the rightful king who Imu usurped. I think Emu's the real pirate. He is like I want to bring up the Harley text, but we know that man killed the sun and became a god. And who's the man who became a god? Emu, right? And I think that the only thing that makes sense is that okay, wait. I want the full Harley text. Well, let's break it down. Let's go with Viz's Harley text. The second world. Within the void there was breath. The forest god tamed demons, and the sun spread the fires of war. Those of the half moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. Man killed the sun and became god, and the sea god stormed, and they all will never meet. Oh, sorry, and they did not meet. Um, okay, unpack this for a while. I think the forest god is the creation of the devil fruits. I've said this before. Um, okay, sorry. Don't forget, I think 20 kings originally teamed up, Davy plus Joyboy plus Emu, to defeat the Lunarians on the Red Line. I think that's what the first world is referring to. Yeah, I agree, Meek. We discussed this before. I'm perfectly one to one with that. I just don't know. Joyboy and Davy Jones have to be from around the same time period, right? Because there hasn't been a Davy spotted in 800 years. And there's no way that Joyboy was, around in the first world, I don't think. Um, otherwise, I don't think Emu would be so traumatized by him. Luffy's interaction with Blackbeard in Jaya makes me think that Joyboy and Davy are definitely separate people. Like, we'll have the will of both manifested in Luffy, and Blackbeard will eventually when they face Emu. That's a good call, Meep. I really like that. Hey, we're up to 7 people. Only 2 are talking though. Man, my character looks so depressed. Smile, you. Um, yeah, sorry, lost my child thought. Um, so breaking this down within the void, I think that's the aftermath of the first world. There was a breath. I take that as like there was an innovation, a change in the winds. The forest god tamed demons. I see this as the invention of devil fruits. The devils were tamed. Haki was manifest in a way that could be processed into a fruit that could grant your wish when eaten. It can make you into something. And I think that made someone into Nika. That made someone Joy Boy. They had the power of the sun. And once they had that fruit, the sun spread the fires of war. That's Joy Boy rallying people to his side, rallying the 20 nations, I think, to overthrow the rulers, who I presume are the Lunarians at this time period. Those of the half moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. So there's 2 factions here. I don't know what this means. I don't know if half moon and moon are like, you know, mixed race stuff, like if the half moons are like part Lunarian, part human, or like the Buccaneers, or if it's something completely different. I really don't know what the half moon and full moon dreaming are. If anyone has any ideas on that, let me know in the comments. But man killed the sun and became god. That's Emu betraying Joy Boy, I assume. And the sea god stormed. That's causing the flood. And they will not meet. That is the oceans being still separated. Um, does anyone agree or disagree with that breakdown of the second world? Because I think it affects the chapter. I don't see where there's room for 2 figures and like what their differences would be and how significant that would be. Like, I'm trying to think about it in a way that's like Oda. I suppose Oda never goes for a simple backstory, does he? So having 2 figures who are competing with different ideologies, maybe Emu was the third option. But Davy Jones had the D in his name, so I feel like he had to be a Joy Boy supporter. Anyway, I think I've wrung as much discussion out of this as I can. Um, Davy Mu has found the perfect soldiers, a certain nation of gentle, indecisive giants. So, even after Harold tried to have him killed, Zebek is just the best friend ever. He's like, Harold's the best. Leave him alone, you bully. He just wants peace. And Emu's like, yeah, that makes him easy to exploit. Um, and you're also gonna be easy to exploit because I'm gonna control you. So we get the possession scene, and I think this is gonna be the fun part to talk about because there's not much lore here. It's just raw impressions, and for this, I feel like the Rocks Pirates did get along a lot better than we've been led to believe. I like Blackbeard was like, sorry, Whitebeard was like, yo, I've been on like cruise with a bunch of conquerors before, and it's really dysfunctional in Wano, and looking at this, it like with the exception of like obviously Guang, what's his name? Obviously, Shiki, um, Jack, and Guangxi are all like out to kill each other. But the main core, right? The commanders, Big Mom, like Kaido and Big Mom have this big brother, little brother, like the sibling dynamic going on that's really cute. Whitebeard is clearly bros with Davy. He's like, yo, you've picked up my tab more than enough times. I'm here for you, ride or die. And Big Mom legit like seems offended, right? Damn you, Rocks, aren't we meant to be your allies? Like she seems offended. Kaido looks betrayed. Like down at the bottom of this page 7, you can see his like zoom in eyes. Like he's shocked that Zebek would attack him like this. You know, like I actually feel like they got along well. Okay, Meek dropped a lot of stuff. The Void Century has so many players, it's way too complex to make a prediction that accounts for everything. I think at this point I will stop trying. To make any worthwhile first or second world theories, you need to be able to talk about Lunarians, Joyboy, Emu, Davy Jones, Lily, Zunatia, Wano, Fishman Island, Poseidon, etc. Much too difficult for anyone not Oda. I kind of agree. I kind of don't agree. I think we can be fairly sure that like the promised Fishman Island was because like Fishman Island is under the red line and it would be crushed if the red line was destroyed. So the relocation was agreed. Um I feel like Noah was probably built by the Galilar giants or their ancestors at least. Zunatia's crime is harder to talk about. Like I think his punishment might fit the crime, so maybe he destroyed the Meek's previous homeland. The Mink's previous homelands, um, which is why he has to serve as their homeland now. Emeth, I have no idea. He's just a robot giant. Pretty cool though. And yeah, obviously, like we discussed the Lunarians earlier, but the Joyboy Emu, Davy Jones, Lily stuff, that's too hard to know without actually seeing, I think. You still think Zunatia is Lily. This reminds me of that one meme of like what's his name? Kawina is Zoe. Yeah. This is you right now, Meek. Can I mute this for a second? Boop. I mean, yeah, maybe. I just think if Lily never returns to Arabasta, ain't no way is she gonna like roam around being the homeland of the minx. Like, sure, she committed a crime by like siding with the 20 initially, but she's kind of like a double agent. So I don't know. I feel like Lily's position, if anything, saved the world because she was somehow able to organize the distribution of the poneglyphs. I actually think like maybe she had like Kuma's fruit or something, but I don't know if those that works on objects. Does anyone know if Kuma's fruit works on objects? Anyway, yes, we're gonna get to Kuma in a minute. I love that stuff. Um, so yeah, annihilate the Davy lineage with your own hands. Snuff out all obstacles on God Valley. Um, so the initial kind of order is like kill anyone like who's involved in this God Valley business, and like Brooks might still have some control because he's like trying to make it very clear his priority is to kill his family right now. He's got to kill the Davies. Like I kind of feel like he's dropping a hint. It's like out of the way, their blood must be purged from the pages of history. And then Whitebeard's like, "We're on your way, Rocks." Like, I feel like Whitebeard has clocked something is very wrong. Like, I feel like he's almost testing the way Zebek is talking here, but it's hard to tell because Whitebeard's the only one who doesn't seem offended to me. Like the other two seem offended. Um, what's your favorite scene in this chapter? So we've got Whitebeard and Zebek having their epic clash here. I think this stuff is just friggin' awesome. Whitebeard has given a lot more like showing than Big Mom and Kaido at this point. Um, I don't think there's any question about like the hierarchy of the crew. I think basically Whitebeard's the unofficial first mate of this crew. I wonder like how long the Rocks Pirates could have lasted had this not happened, and how long Whitebeard would have been content to stay under Rocks. I wonder if Whitebeard was a believer in Rox's message or not, because like later in life he seems very ambivalent to the idea of like doing anything about the world government or seeking the One Piece. He just seems to want to chill with his family and protect his friends. Obviously he'll cross them if like something bad happens, but like for the most part he's just happy to drink and wait until an old age. But I wonder if like back during the Rocks days he actually thought, hey, things can change. This guy, he knows what he's doing. Or if he was just, biding his time like the rest and waiting to start his own like, traveling orphanage like he eventually does. Anyway, so this giant mountain collapses and you think, "Oh my god, look at all these ships there." And I assume a lot of them get crushed because this next line is like all the warships in the no, sorry, northeast coast have, and then the message gets cut off. So I assume all of those people died. But then we've got the weirdest info box in One Piece history: the northern northeast coast. So like, this is north of the northeast coast. I don't really understand. I don't get it, Oda. I really don't. Um, But yeah, we see that there's a bunch of celestial dragons here, and they're getting evacuated finally. So it's all a lie. What Sengoku said. Garp didn't protect a single one of these guys. It's literally all like a scam. And I just wonder how Garp walks out of this being a hero. Friggin' Garling walks out of this as the champion, like considered the king and champion of God Valley. Zabek comes out of this being the bad guy. Like, how does any of this? Yeah, Japanese said north, north, east. You took it as between north and northeast. I took it as north of the northeast, or the northern section of the northeast. Either way, it's a very weird, like, why would Oda pick that? If it's between north and northeast, right? Wouldn't it just be north? It's more north than it is northeast. Like, you have to average it out. It just makes no sense. They could have just said to the north. Hey Juan, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. No worries, Meek. It's good to have someone talking. It's the cowpiece guy. Um. Oh. Oh, because of Moo. I gotcha. I gotcha. I'm still young. I understand all these memes. Um. So yeah, we've got Rayleigh being real like bros before hoes here. He's like holding Shaki, and he's still like, "Roger's safe, right?" What a good first mate, man. Like if it was me, I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm holding like my love of my life." But like Rayleigh's got like he said it last chapter. Your priorities don't change, no matter what. I don't care what happens. I don't care if I'm holding the most beautiful woman in the world. I don't care if there's like all the money around. Like your priorities do not change. Yes, San Juan Wolf. I'm really bad at friggin' saying friggin' those kinds of names. San Juan. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I flunked Spanish. I didn't even do it. I did French. Like French is the worst language ever. But that's geography for you. Childhood traumatic lessons aside, we've got the funniest scene in the chapter where we've got these no-name pirates being like, "Treasure, this is incredible," and they bump into a dead end. I assume the dead end is because of the mountain, but it's probably because of the fire actually, because you can see in the art. But what's really cool about this scene is that you can see the Z's from Shanks being asleep in the chest. In Japanese, these Z's were written like with a dash through them, which just made no sense to me. It's like the Dragon Ball Z logo, if you've seen that. But I guess that's how they romanize Z's to confuse it with any other characters. It's kind of smart. But yeah, we see Dragon wallowing in his depression. He's just like, I can't even save one baby. Where did it all go wrong? Like this guy's gonna be questioning his decisions for the next like 4 or 5 years. Um Speaking of which, I do not know when he's meant to form the Freedom Fighters. It's gotta be within the next 10 years. He's formed it by the time Kuma's an adult. Oh, I see. Hey, man. Yes, Moo Piece is real. Moo Piece is real indeed. And I kind of skimmed over Moo's dialogue. I should have made a meme of that. I'm a bad streamer. I've realized this now. I'm a bad streamer. I should have been memeing the crap out of this chapter, but I've been taking it way too seriously. And so my viewership dwindled immediately. But hey, we've got 5 people. That's hype. That's hype. And it's two of my favorite people here, YC and Sanwan. These are very active people in the Discord, which I frequent. Um, and yeah, they always have good points to make. So if you guys have any theories or like any observations, let me know. I'll read them out. This is really more chill because I'm bored, but I want to see if there's anything which I can like shed insight on or just talk about because like some stuff here torment me a lot. Like Ivankov's accent. So much of like you don't know the pain. I just kind of want to drop it, but at the same time it is something which is clearly there. But it's not a real accent. It's like I guess you would say it's like a parody of like what an Eastern European could sound like, but it's not. But like the traditional way of rendering this in the fan sub community has been like replacing the W's with vel, and but when I was working on other projects and stuff, we were like, oh, you should also have like rolling S's and like 4 other rules that were just so unwieldy. But I've scaled it back to just the V's and the K's at the end of ing, so it's trying to save people, like that. It's almost kind of Russian sounding when I put it like that. But Eva's accent, man, like I can't tell you how many people are like, "Oh my god, there's a K here. It's a typo." You should have an agenda chart ready and glaze Oda and call him a hack. Yes, I should do that. Oh my god. Earlier today I was discussing my rankings for the friggin' warlords. Maybe I should do that like on stream after this, like a warlords tier list. Okay, actually, let's do that right now. Let's take a break from the chapter and, for the memes, rank the warlords. Let's be full on toxic power scaler. Let's try and get the viewer count up. Okay, let's experiment. Okay, I've got 4 viewers at the moment. If the viewer count goes up by 1 by talking about agendas, I'm gonna become an agenda tuber. Okay, not really, but let's parody them, okay? We don't need the logo for this. Okay, so this is a pre-made one, so let's remix. Let's go to template. Okay. We can reorganize this however we want now. Okay. Oof. Oof. I'm excited. Okay, so Hancock can't go below A tier, otherwise I'll be a sexist. But also, let's be real, like, anyone who sees her is gonna, fall in love and do the heart eyes and all that. I'm trying to find my heart eyes. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So Hancock's just the best. She's the most lovely, and she can, she's just the best. Okay, I can't do that. Hancock's probably quite strong, but I definitely think there's people above her. Like, I don't know Mihawk cares about anything but swords, so he's not going to be affected. Um, I think Jinbei is going to be protected by the chopper rule, where people, are only attracted by their own race in One Piece. So, like, well, I guess Chopper isn't a mink, but he only fell for another deer in the mink tribe. So I think Jinbei is going to be like that, and he's only going to have eyes for mermaids and fishwomen. So I think Jinbei is pretty solid, although I don't think I don't think he's gonna be as strong as Mihawk. Um, Dofi, would Dofi be affected by by her powers? I want to say he would possess her before she could use it. I don't know about Law. Law's I'm gonna be so like people are gonna be so mad at the power scaler is gonna be so mad at me. I think Kuma's quite weak relative to other warlords. Probably above Crocodile, but I don't know. This is what I'm feeling. This kind of order. That's what I'm feeling. Um, I just realized my whole thing was off center, but yeah, I think you can see it there. Law better go last. Why? Look, I would put Law lower, but some people are upset that I even. Oh wow. I don't. Law, Jinbei, and Dofi are all in like a scrap here for me. I could put any of them above any of them. I think because Law's a captain, he'll go above Jinbei. I think Dofi and Jinbei, I don't know. I have no idea about. I feel like if Dofi was free, he would probably have a higher bounty. I'll go with this order. Yeah. I'm just memeing. I'm testing a theory, YC. I'm testing if talking about power scaling will make me more popular. Is this like the instant way to YouTube fame? Also, it's just fun to make fun of power scaling when you don't take it seriously. Because there's like, if you don't take it seriously, you can just melt someone's brain. Because some people like take it life or death. What do you think? This is my final list. We've got Blackbeard and Mihawk in S tier. We've got Law, Dofi, Jinbei, and Hancock in A tier. We got my boy Kuma, Crocodile, and Weevil in B tier. And we've got Moria and Buggy pulling up the rear. Although, to be honest, in terms of strength, Buggy's lower than Moria. See you, Sonhan. Personally, I hope Bowie becomes top 3 in Warlord, but I don't trust Oda. I don't know. Like I feel like Bonnie, like sorry, Hancock before the time skip, she was taking out pacifistas with a kick, right? And that's like I don't know many characters that can do that. But after the time skip, it seems like she's like the only consideration about her against Blackbeard was her power. And the only reason she didn't like, you know, insta lose was because Blackbeard was like, do I want her power? Should I risk letting her go? Will she freeze me or not? Like, I feel like she's carried by her power post skip, so like, I don't trust Oda. I'm with you. I don't trust Oda at all. Boa should have filled the gap that Big Mom left behind, but Oda is a hack. I personally think that before Big Mom was created, Hancock would have been the only female emperor. Um, for those who don't know, I think the emperors would have been Crocodile, Hancock, Whitebeard, and Shanks. And I think obviously Luffy would beat the first emperor he faced, Crocodile. He would befriend Hancock, and basically the rest, to be honest. And Blackbeard would emerge as the main antagonist figure. This is like assuming that One Piece would be only 5 years. Like Whitebeard would still die. Shanks would be a weird tweener, but eventually he and Luffy would have their scrap, and Shanks will be proud of him. Crocodile's the one who we beat up, and I guess Hancock would still fall in love, like because this is like me picturing the most streamlined version of One Piece possible. But thankfully we don't have that version of One Piece, and we have a version with the warlords, so I don't feel too bad about that. Okay, now let's test that out. I have 6 viewers from talking about power scaling. My viewership went from two-thirds the size to like it increased by a whole third just during my talk about power scaling. It's true. It is true. You just say random agenda piece crap and they come flocking like they're friggin' like hounds. Like I'm just gonna say like, Sanji's a loser who like, can't tie his shoelaces without Nami, right? And like that'll probably double my viewership. Oh god. Let's get back to the chapter. Oh no, no, I'm gonna get demonetized, even though I've got no money. And I'm not monetized anyway. Sad. No, I need to put the thing back up. There we go. Boop. So yeah, we've got Dragon sulking. He can't do anything, and he's gonna take this resolve, this very serious resolve, people. He's gonna take it and do nothing for the next 30 years until it's finally time for him to do something and declare war on the Celestial Dragons 38 years after this. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna build up, build up the army. Yeah. But you know what? Okay, as much as I meme on him, I do like Dragon's moment here. I'm ecstatic he was on God Valley. It's the perfect, motivation for his character to be against the Marines and the government. I still want a little more. I still want to see something like, he was friends with Akainu, and that's why Akainu was so like, determined to get Dragon's kid during Marineford, something like that. Like he felt betrayed when Dragon left. But for the most part, Dragon's been fleshed out very well here. It's almost to the point where I don't need a full Dragon flashback. Maybe a brief thing like we got for Port Castille Rouge to reveal Luffy's mother. But I don't think I ever need to know Luffy's mother either. We moved on to the Kuma scene, and Kuma is, still farming for, savior points. He's still looking for people who he can be Jesus for, because his Jesus metaphors were, so subtle and egghead. Um, but Kuma has yet to die for our sins, so he's going forth and becoming the MVP of this chapter. And it almost makes me kind of wish that we saw all this before the Kuma, during the Kuma flashback. Even if we had no context for what was going on. Even if Rox was like this shadow demon that was just chasing a mother and a child, and we had no context and it's just from Kuma's point of view, I kind of wish we got that. I also wish that we got a scene here where he sends off Ivankov and Ginny, because he's going to be teleporting himself in a second, and it's you kind of get the impression that he left them behind. But I assume that like these two continue to whine about saving people or not, and he sent them ahead. Anyway, we've got Captain John here, who's probably going to recover some of his treasure. After all, Buggy needs something to be obsessed with. And the best part of the chapter with Shiki, going off to hoard treasure to fund Strong World, which is not canon, but I mean, what else is he gonna do with the money? Seriously. Um. So yeah, this is super interesting. Like, it implies that Eris knows everything that Zebek was planning. Like, because she's like, "You lost. I'm sorry. That's our fault. You fought him before you were ready." It makes me think like, what would have been different if Zebek was ready, and the only difference is he would still be wearing down on like I I gotta believe that he wants two fruits, right? He wants whatever Loki has. Um so he wants Harold to have that. And I suppose he wants the I assume he wants the darkness fruit. But it could be Nika's fruit. And once he has those two fruits, he would feel more ready to face Emu, maybe? But I don't know if that would make much of a difference. Like, Dog just straight away Dommy reverse-eyed him. So, like, unless the darkness fruit cancels this out, I don't know that anything would have made this better. So I feel like Eris's crying is very, you know, it's unnecessary. I think Rox was doomed no matter what here. I just don't think he was the guy. Anyway, so she tries to jump into the ocean. And Kuma, being the MVP, poofs them all to oblivion. And Emu is fooled by this. Like, Emu sees all this going down and does not perceive it. Enel would never. Enel would never. Can you imagine, right, is this happening on Enel's watch? Enel can, like, hear people's plots and know exactly who is where in all of Skypiea at all times. Emu is standing not 3 feet away, and he sees all this go down. Emu sees all this go down, and he's like, "Yep, okay, you've killed your family. Now let's move on to wiping out the rest of the island." This guy is lazy, okay? Look, this guy. And now again, Enel, right, would be like, Enel is my true, like, is the true god of One Piece, right? He could literally just nuke friggin' Skypiea like with his hand from a million miles away to try and snipe Konus and the entire rest of the shopping district. You're telling me Emu can't do like 4 times that and just like raise the island here? The only thing I can say is that he's like trying to be intentionally cruel and trying to, he gets off on like making people like kill their family. But it's not a good showing when like a literal like 4-year-old or 5-year-old, whatever Kuma is, like he's literally made clowns of them. Like he's not only allowed the Davy clan to survive, right? Because Emu was too lazy to do this in person. He's not only like, freed himself, which leads to all kinds of problems for the world government later, including the survival of Luffy, right? Like all of the like he's not only done all that, right? But like he what is he doing? He's just okay, sorry. Rant over. Emu is looking. What do the kids say? Looking east. He's looking west this chapter. He's doing stuff, but he's doing it in the least efficient way possible. And in a way, it's allowed Zebek to have a small win. His family survives. He might not have been able to complete his plan, but it seems Eris knows what it was, and maybe Blackbeard can find out what it is. I'm glad we don't have the cliche of Blackbeard's mother dying in front of him during this and then his father dying. I'm sure she dies eventually, but for now, they get to go off to presumably Kuma's home country, Sorbet. And that place is not the best. It's got some real, like, poverty problems, but I don't think they're gonna be genocided or anything. What I want to know is how she wants to get to Lelouchia, because she promised Zebek she would go and meet him in Lelouchia. I want to know how you go from the friggin' West Blue to the friggin' new, like, wait, it's Paradise, right? You go from the New World to Paradise. Like, it's not like you can even sail into the Calm Belt for that, because you'll be sailing into the New World. So she would have to climb the Red Line and cross the Calm Belt in order to meet Zebek in however many days. I don't think that was a realistic plan. I wonder if Kuma and Teach ever interacted and talked about this incident during their brief time. Blackbeard was a warlord. I doubt they ever did. I'm wondering if how much of this Teach even remembers. Like, obviously he'll remember some of it, but I'm not sure any of them will be able to identify each other here. I mean, I'm pretty certain Shanks never talks to Blackbeard about this. I'm pretty dang sure. Although Shanks does consider his hometown in the West Blue, so I wonder if that's God Valley and he had like God Valley sake and was offering that to Blackbeard, or if Roger and Rayleigh like dump him on the first possible island they can. Uh, either way, um, emo emo moo piece allows all of his he says Lily made the blunder and Harold made the blunder. He makes the biggest blunder I've seen a villain make in One Piece history. So after Emu's giant blunder, we get a scene where simultaneously the Marines are calling Garp and the Roger Pirates are calling Roger. Roger's ship still has the egg. At this point, I don't think that means anything. I think it's just aesthetic. Um, but yeah, they're both, they both put their boys on hold and they're like, hey, we're not gonna, come back to the ship. Roger is a bit more like, hey, my only concern is, let me know when everyone's on board. So he's becoming a bit more of a serious captain in this moment. It's kind of like Luffy. Garp is just, he's a fight slut. He's just in it for like, okay, now he's probably a bit more serious as a marine. He wants to see what the heck all of this was for, and he's gonna linger until he gets some answers. And if he gets to bash some heads while waiting, that's all the better. Um, so we've got Zabak cutting down random pirate grunts. I assume that they're from the Rocks crew, but they could be one of the other pirate crews that seem to have come to God Valley. And the chapter ends with Garp and Roger simultaneously challenging Zabek to come out into the open. And I think Zabek makes one last move of defiance here. I think he is like. We see Emu shocked and surprised here. I think Zabek's orders would have been to like kill everyone on the island, and he was meant to keep slaughtering this lot here, and proceed to finish everyone else off. But like Zabek has just enough control to control how he prioritizes the order. So it's kill everyone on the island. Okay, I'll start with the people who are most likely to kill me. So that's his last, futile, get back at Emu. Like, at least I can thwart you in a way by not killing as many people as you wanted me to. By answering this challenge immediately. So I think that's why surprised that um he's surprised that and says Davy here. Alternatively, it could be the hockey burst, and that these two D's reminded him of Davy as well. I don't know which is more likely. Is it that Garp and Roger's hockey burst here reminds Emu of Davy, or is it Zebek's surprising decision to face them, despite his orders to slay the island? I think either are valid. Um, After that, we've got what the hell have you turned into? I won't let you go after my crew. And we've got seemingly the voice of all things. Garp and Roger are able to hear Zebek telepathically contact them and beg for them to kill him. Um, so this reframes the whole fight. We thought it was, like I don't know if you guys remember, like friggin' um, Return to Reverie, right? With Artur and stuff, where yeah, yeah, remember this like back in the day. This shouldn't be this shouldn't be a problem to show. Moving myself, aren't I? Ah, this shouldn't be a problem to show, so I'm just gonna show it. Remember back in the day, we were all like, ah, yes. It was all. I know this was just Artur, but like many fans, they thought of Rox as the villain, and Zebek needed to be stopped, so Whitebeard stepped up and, he was able to fight the others while Roger and like Garp fought the devious Zebek and saved the world. Like the world isn't already screwed enough, right? Zebek would have been worse, apparently, I guess. Um, we've ended up in a place that I think is good but controversial because on one hand we've got we've got a character with much less agency here. Like he's being controlled. No one came to God Valley for a good reason. They all came to like, just because they like Shaki. They all came for fun, basically. Well, okay. Zebek came for his family. Everyone else came for treasure, or they came for Shaki. They came to save their friend, or they came because they're down bad for Shaki. And it just so happened that a humanitarian crisis was going on, and Zebek's life was coming to a head. Right. I still hope that there's some hidden secret to why God Valley is the home for the Davy clan, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out because it's less generic. Like I think if Zebek had been a villain, this would have been a very boring flashback. But because Zebek became our main character, it completely recontextualized all of our assumptions. Um, Obviously, I don't think Zebek is the best person ever. I think he's a very means to an end kind of character. Like, he's willing to go to certain extremes, like punching Loki and all that. But I don't think he would ever go as far as Blackbeard went, where he stabs one of his companions in the back to get power. Zebek could have probably won if he had done what Kaido said and forced Harold to eat the fruit and serve him, which was clearly an option. But Harold is like, I am doing that to my buddy. So Zebek was kind of a man who was destroyed by his empathy in a way. He also didn't need to come for his family. He could have continued to plot and bide his time. But he sacrificed himself for the future. So I think Zebek's legacy is gonna be someone who inspired Blackbeard, but for the wrong reasons. Like Blackbeard is either going to think his old man was too soft, or he's gonna learn all the wrong lessons from him. And I think if it's all the wrong lessons from him, maybe he'll think, you know, my dad wanted to be king of the world. He wanted to do X, Y, and Z. I'm gonna make sure that happens no matter, like, by any means necessary. No matter who I need to step on to get there. Like, he'll take his father's ideology to one more step to be even. Like, because the back seems like, an extreme Luffy. He only cares about his friends. I think Blackbeard is even one more step beyond that, where he's like, he only cares about himself. But it's also a world where you're free to chase ambitions. So we're talking about, by the end, we're going to be talking about a dichotomy between Emu, total control, and Blackbeard, total anarchy, and Luffy being the middle ground. So Zebek being reframed here to be very sympathetic is not what I expected. I thought that he would be way more terrible and misguided and violent, like means to an end kind of person. But overall, he was willing to sacrifice everything for his family. And now we've got a pretty sad fight ahead of us. We've got basically Roger and Garp putting him down, but it's for me it's a little weak. And the only reason I say that is because we haven't been focusing on the relationship between Roger and Garp and Rocks. We've been focusing on the relationship between Rocks and Harold. So if anyone has to put down Rocks, I think Oda should have made it be Harold. I think that would have been the more emotionally resonant option. But, you know, I'm not even sure if he had thoughts like, of Harold and um Rox's dynamic when he came up with God Valley, so maybe this was all meant to be and I'm picking at a thread that doesn't need to be picked at. But the chapter ends with our two would be heroes, about to face down and kill Zebek. And yeah, he was done very dirty, but he got to at least see his family survive, so that's gotta be some win. Anyway, I think I'm gonna call it for today. My voice is getting a bit raw, and I am a bit tired. I think next time I stream, I'll do it like the day after a chapter if I do it again. Um, Mostly because I'm running on fumes, and I think I've been a bit rambly this week. But it was nice just, getting in chat and talking with people, and, I want to make it more of a habit. Um, because that's how you build up to actually doing proper projects and stuff. You start with the small stuff and build your enthusiasm back up step by step. And I think I've been lacking on doing that for a while, so thank you very much for the handful of you who joined me. It means the world to me. It was really cool to hang out with you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and, the stream. I'm gonna, try and be a bit more succinct when I talk next time. I'm gonna make notes before and probably make this a lot briefer. Like more of a chapter breakdown than a full on rambling discussion. But overall, for a pilot episode, this is my first, reaction, quote unquote. I'm pretty happy, and yeah, I'm glad you had fun, Mip. Yeah, I think we're gonna sign off right now. So yeah. Oh, I've only got a starting soon card. I don't have an end card. Would it be too abrupt to just end the stream? Maybe, but I'm gonna do it. Bye.